Hi Max, how you doing?
Hey Cass, I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm doing well. So today for our video, we're going to be exploring the significance of team building. So what is a team building? And over the past few weeks, you and I have been doing some market research. And we've been trying to answer the question, what is team building, based on our clients' perspective on what it is and what they do with their teams. And that plus our 15-year experience has allowed us to kind of create three big categories as to what is team building. And so today, I'd like us to spend a bit of more time on this and explaining the three big categories. So Max, could you go ahead and start us with the first category that's, most of the time the most used one on the market?
Yes, absolutely. So the first category that we'd like to name is the social gathering. So usually an experience like this will last a couple hours. It's outside the work setting. People are having fun together. The big advantage of an experience like this is the fact that it's outside of the work setting. So people are not seeing each other as the different roles that they play in the organization. So they're able to meet the person behind the role that the person will play. And if they know the person and they realize that they have elements in common with that person, well, they will be more empathetic to the person, and they will be able to communicate and to collaborate more. With this kind of team building activity, it's important to manage expectations. The outcome is difficult to predict, because the idea is not to organize the experience too much, because you want it to remain social and informal. And at the same time, it's just a few hours. So there's no way of knowing what the participants will do after they've experienced this kind of team building. But it certainly has some value because it's informal, because it's outside of the work setting.
And Max, let's say I'm a leader of a team, right? And I want to push my team a little bit more than that social gathering. So um, what would be the next step after doing that gathering? Like, is there like a version that allows me to go a little bit further than that?
Yes, absolutely. The next step is generating some awareness. You could call this like creating a aha moment for some team members or the entire team. So again, like this kind of activity can be done outside of the work setting, but you could expect a simulation, like your team will experience something under pressure, and there has to be a debriefing. Okay, and into the debriefing, people will be able to relate what they just experienced to their work reality, how they just interacted to how they interact in the workplace. How did they just strategize? How do they strategize in the workplace? So those are some examples of the type of conversations that could be facilitated when you're in that kind of a team building experience. Now, there's a big caveat in this kind of experience, because being able to say, oh, like this has to change, or I just realized X, Y, and Z. So it's not because you've said it and you're aware of it that you're competent to implement the change back into the organization. The awareness, the consciousness element of it is key. There's no change unless there's some level of awareness. But the different studies will show that normally, like it's only 5% of the job is knowing that things need to change. So being aware, being conscious is way behind feeling equipped to do it. Like, what I mean by this is competent, having the competency to make the change happen, the motivation to make it happen, and the practicing in making the change happen on a day-to-day basis. If you work with an external facilitator, one thing you could do is to have the facilitator integrate your team dynamic, management meeting. These kind of platforms will be a good place to support the integration, or even individual sessions with a coach are good ways to increase your chances of making the change happen in a more concrete way. And at the same time, this kind of team building experience sometimes creates expectations of like change's gotta happen because it was so intense on that day. We became aware of it. But it's not necessarily clear that we're expecting a commitment from team members, or that we'll want to show vulnerability after the experience. So team building experience that generates awareness that change needs to happen. That would be the second category.
Thanks. And let's say in fact I do I did get that 5%, or I do want to get that 5% awareness, right? And I do want to get to that other 95% in order to generate like a transformation, right? I really want to see this switch happening with my team. What would be possible? Like, what can I possibly do to get that other 95%? Like, what's a good way to do it?
Yeah, well, it's about the conception, right? You go from a big event to a lasting journey. Okay, so as a leader, if in your mind, like you're thinking, I'm embarking on a lasting journey, my team is aware that we're going for the journey, and we'll be practicing for a long time. That's a good part to a good place to start it. You will want to have a good diagnosis of the situation. So that could mean finding out about relationships, about team members, clarity on the vision of the organization. It could be about the sort of behaviors that we expect from each other, the level of trust. You can also become a little more familiar with our ways of thinking. What are our blind spots as a team? What kind of culture? How is our culture enabling or preventing us from going to our next level of performance? So once you've established a diagnosis, you're able to create a plan of action, and that plan of action will require practice in the organization. And this kind of journey is so rewarding because colleagues will grow thanks to their colleagues, that it's almost, you could say, like the team becomes a place where each member decides that they're going to become the best version of themselves because they're lucky to have each other on the day-to-day. So that's a different, way different approach to team building, and you're into the mindset that we need to be able to be in a zone where everything can be said together, and it's about the common goal. It's about the organization. It's about the well-being of the team members. And what will happen sometimes when you embark on a journey like this is some team members will leave the team because they're not ready to open up. They're not ready to show vulnerability. So this could almost sound like it's a paradox. Like, I want to build a team. Well, you want to build a team with the right players. So sometimes a project like this will accelerate the departure of team members that were not at their best place to begin with. So we're talking about a journey. That would be like the third type of team building that we hear on the market.
So three types, right? We have the first one, which is more like a social gathering. The second one is we do an activity and there's this awareness, the haha moment. And then the third type is more about like the journey, like how do we do something with that haha moment. That's what I'm hearing. So, but how do I pick between the three types? Like which way do I go? Like when I want to do something with my team, like what's the right fit?
Yeah, well, this is a great question. It's important for viewers to note that it's not like one type is better than the other. It's about meeting the needs. And so what is the need? Why would you want to work on the team, and what would that mean? So as a leader, you got to ask these questions. Why do I want to do this, and which way is most appropriate for us? So your question is very interesting, because they can all generate something powerful, something relevant, and we have to manage expectations. And if you work with a partner, well, they will want to help you clarify why would you want to do it. And based on the beginning of that relationship, you're able to identify the best type of experience for your team.
Well, looks like we found ourselves the next question that we'll be answering, right? Why should we do a team building?
Yes.
So stay tuned. Thanks, Max.
Thanks, Cass.